Episode 7. The true Saxon Anglo history reaches a moment that will make you hold your breath. 7 shattered kingdoms, 1 lone traveller, and a dream powerful enough to reshape an entire world. Edwin is no king, yet his courage is enough to shake kings themselves. Will he unite the broken realms? Through blood, betrayal and war, will he ever reach the man who killed his father? Will fate guide him back to Ella, or tear them apart forever? History is turning tonight, and you are about to witness it. Stay with us to uncover the true Saxon Anglo story. Welcome to Heroes of History. The return of darkness. Night hadn't fully settled, yet the sky was already swallowed by long black clouds. The air carried a strange pressure, the kind that warns you something dangerous is on its way. Edwin stood at the highest tower of the fortress, watching a pale glow rise slowly from the distant valley. He knew the land had seen battles before, but whatever was coming now felt older than war. He had fought kings, traitors, and armies. He had united 6 of the 7 kingdoms under one banner. But now he sensed something different, something hidden, something that didn't belong to the world of men. Leon stepped beside him. "He's waking up again." Edwin didn't turn. "I know. Do you think we're ready this time?" "We may not be ready," Edwin said, "but we don't have the luxury of stopping. The unification of the kingdoms can't be reversed now." A chilling scream rose from the valley. It didn't sound human. Leon tightened the grip on his sword. "That didn't come from any man," Leon whispered. Edwin finally turned to him. "No, and this is only the beginning." 2 hours earlier, the Council of the Seven, the grand hall of the fortress, was filled with the representatives of all kingdoms. Sunlight filtered through stained glass, painting the stone floor with colors that didn't match the tension inside the room. The minister of Garon stood up first. "Edwin, we followed you because you promised justice. We didn't expect ancient darkness to rise while we stood at your side." The Queen of Lorien replied sharply, "The darkness was always here. You simply chose not to see it." Murmurs spread across the hall. Edwin raised his hand. Silence returned. "We all know the threats we face now aren't from men, but we stand stronger together than apart. If we break now, these forces will destroy every one of our kingdoms." The room fell quiet. A soldier rushed inside. "Your Majesty, a strange light is rising from the Severin forest. It's nothing we've ever seen before." Edwin looked at Leon. Leon's expression showed fear he usually hid well. "We're going," Edwin said. The Severin forest. The forest air felt heavy with secrets buried for centuries. The deeper Edwin and Leon walked, the more the wind felt alive. When they reached the center of the clearing, they saw it. A sphere of pulsing white light floated above the ground. It throbbed like a living heart. Animals shrieked from all directions. Leon whispered, "This isn't magic. Something is awakening." Edwin stepped forward, extending his hand. An invisible force shoved him backward. The light pulsed faster and faster. Then everything stopped, and the light died. Edwin exhaled. "This was a warning." Leon swallowed. "Warning from whom, or from what?" Edwin had no answer. The night attack. 2 hours later, the fortress was quiet when a sudden wind swept across the city. Torches flickered violently. Clouds devoured the moon. The eastern gate fell into an unnatural silence. Then came a scream, one loud enough to shake the guards to their bones. A guard at the gate shouted, "No one opens this gate without the king's command." But no enemy was charging the gate. Something else stood there, a shadow, long, twisted, shifting. The guard stepped back. "What is that?" The shadow lifted itself higher. Its eyes glowed like burning coal. Before the guard could react, the creature lunged. It slammed the guard against the wall with a crack that echoed across the courtyard. Screams burst throughout the gate. Edwin ran toward the chaos with Leon at his side. As they reached the gate, the bodies of fallen guards lay scattered across the ground. Leon tightened his grip. "This isn't a human enemy." "No, Edwin said, "but it's here to test us." The creature emerged again, this time fully visible. Its skin looked like cold charcoal, not burnt, but born that way. Its eyes were two glowing slits. Its limbs were long and bent unnaturally, ending in claws instead of hands. Leon shouted, "Everyone fall back!" Edwin stepped forward. "Who are you? Speak your name." The creature only growled. Then its body twisted in rage. Edwin raised his sword. "If you stand against us, we end you." The creature let out a low hum. Then it attacked. The creature of the Black Gate. Steel met claw with a sound no human ear was meant to hear. When Edwin's sword struck the creature's arm, sparks burst like fireflies in a storm. The thing didn't bleed. Instead, its skin rippled like liquid stone. Leon pulled Edwin back just in time as the creature swung its long arm through the air. Its claws sliced through the wooden gate behind them as if it were soft clay. "Don't let it touch you!" Leon shouted. "Its strength is unnatural." The courtyard filled with soldiers, torches and panicked shouts. Arrows flew from the tower walls like a swarm of angry bees. Every arrow that hit the creature simply shattered. The beast roared. Not like a wild animal, not like anything that belonged to the mortal world. Its roar felt ancient, older than their kingdoms, older than their wars. Soldiers dropped their weapons, covering their ears. Edwin pushed forward. "Hold your ground. If this thing reaches the citadel, everyone inside will die." Leon yelled back, "Then we strike together." They spread out, giving each other space. The beast watched them with burning red eyes, calculating, studying. Then it moved, too fast to follow. It shot toward Edwin. He barely raised his shield before the creature slammed into him, hurling him across the cobblestones. His ribs rattled, his vision blurred. The beast leapt again, raising its claws to tear him apart. Leon threw a spear with all his strength. The spear drove into the creature's back, pinning it for half a heartbeat. Just enough time. Edwin rolled aside and swung at the beast's legs. The blade sliced through, not deep, but enough to stagger it. The creature spun, its claws slashing across Leon's arm. Leon gasped, stumbling back, blood soaking through the cut. "Leon!" Edwin shouted. "I'm fine," Leon gritted out. "Kill it." Oh! The turning of the tide. Edwin tightened his grip. He could feel the kingdom watching him, soldiers trembling, villagers hiding, the council praying he wouldn't fail. The 7 kingdoms had placed their trust in him. If he died here, everything collapsed. The beast lunged again. This time Edwin was ready. He sidestepped and drove his sword into its abdomen. The blade met resistance, like forcing metal through stone. The creature shrieked, its twisted voice echoing across the walls. For the first time, it bled. A thick black fluid dripped from its wound, sizzling as it touched the ground. "It can be hurt!" Leon shouted. The soldiers regained courage and began attacking again. Spears jabbed, swords flashed, shields slammed, but the creature grew wilder, thrashing at anyone who dared to step close. One soldier was lifted by his throat and thrown into a wall. Another had his shield ripped apart and his chest torn open. "Fall back!" Edwin yelled. "Only attack when it's distracted." Leon circled behind it. "Edwin, bring it toward me." Edwin understood instantly. He charged at the beast, banging his sword on his shield. "Come on, I'm right here." The creature swung its claws at him in a frenzy. Edwin dodged, each movement precise. Every step brought the beast closer to Leon. Closer. "Now!" Leon shouted. Leon, using the last of his strength, pushed a burning oil torch into the wound on the creature's abdomen. A burst of fire erupted from inside it. The creature screamed, this time in agony. Its body convulsed, shaking violently. The black fluid inside it ignited, fire spreading across its skin. Its limbs twisted, melting into ash-like fragments. Edwin leaped forward, driving his sword through its chest. The creature's head snapped back. Its eyes dimmed, and then it collapsed into a pile of crumbling charcoal. Silence fell. Only the crackling of fire remained. Soldiers stared at Edwin with a mixture of awe and fear. Leon leaned against a broken pillar, clutching his injured arm. "I told you," Everything with fire dies. Edwin walked to him, placing a hand on his shoulder. Are you hurt badly? I've had worse wounds, Leon said, forcing a smile. Though I wouldn't mind a healer or two. Oh. The council awakens to fear. By sunrise, the creature's ashes were contained in a reinforced iron box. Edwin summoned the council. They gathered around the blackened remains, their faces pale. The scholar from Rowan knelt beside the ashes. Your Majesty, this is no creature born from our lands. This is something summoned. Edwin's eyes narrowed. Summoned by whom? The scholar hesitated. There are old texts, forbidden texts, that speak of experiments done by the ancient priests of the Lost Kingdom. They tried to merge the souls of the fallen with the shadows of the underworld. Leon scoffed. So we're fighting dead things now? The scholar whispered, not dead, not alive, something between. The Queen of Lorien stepped forward. Whoever summoned this creature means to test your strength, Edwin, and next time they will send something stronger. Edwin clenched his jaw. Then we will prepare. The hall murmured in agreement, though their eyes were filled with fear. Oh, the message in the ashes. Suddenly, the ashes in the iron box shifted. A thin stream of smoke swirled upward, forming strange shapes in the air. Everyone stepped back. The scholar whispered, trembling, It's trying to say something. The smoke twisted, forming letters. He is awake. Leon's breath hitched. Who is awake? The smoke formed one final word. Circe. The room fell silent. Edwin's heart froze. Circe isn't a myth, he whispered. He's real. The light in the Severin forest. The creature's attack. The ancient awakening. Everything now made sense. Leon looked at Edwin. Then everything we've fought so far was only the beginning. Edwin nodded slowly. The real war starts now. The shadow of the seventh throne. The night returned to the valley with a silence that felt unnatural. The rain had stopped, the thunder had faded, but something heavier still hung in the air. Edwin stood at the ridge, staring at the distant torchlights of the Seventh Kingdom, the one that had always remained untouched, unseen and unbroken. Sardine, a land whispered about more than spoken, a kingdom that did not attack, did not trade, did not send messengers. It simply existed like a dark shape on the horizon, neither friend nor enemy. But everyone feared it, and every Saxon mother warned her children never to wander near its borders. Yet fate had placed Edwin's path directly toward it. Behind him the army rested in scattered camps. Fires flickered, steel was cleaned, wounds were tended. Ragnar walked toward him, his steps heavy in the mud. You're thinking of them, Ragnar said quietly. The kingdom no one wants to speak of. Edwin didn't take his eyes off the distant lights. We've united 6 thrones, but the 7th will decide whether all this effort becomes glory or a grave. Ragnar folded his arms. You've fought kings, warriors, armies, but Círdan isn't like the others. Their people disappear for years, then return without memory. Their soldiers don't break. Edwin turned slightly. You've faced them. One time, long ago, I lost half my men before the battle even started. Edwin finally met his gaze. Fear? Not fear, Ragnar answered. Something worse. Something inside them that makes you question your own strength. They don't shout. They don't charge. They just walk toward you like shadows, and shadows don't die. A moment of silence passed between them. Edwin looked back at the horizon. If I don't face them, everything we've built remains incomplete. And if you do face them, Ragnar said, you might lose everything you've built. Edwin exhaled slowly. Then I have no choice. The council before dawn. Before sunrise, Edwin called the 6 united kings and generals to a council. A long table was set under a canvas roof, with maps pinned to the wood by daggers. Torches burned with blue smoke. As they gathered, Edwin began, We stand at the border of the last kingdom. The path ahead is the most difficult one yet. We face Círdan. A murmur broke among the gathered leaders. King Aldric leaned forward. Edwin, we agreed to defend our lands, but Cerdyn, no one has ever crossed their walls and returned the same. They are not monsters, King Torvald argued. They are people. You say that, Aldric replied, but their people fight without fear or voice. How do you conquer men who act like they have already died? Edwin raised a hand, quieting them. We're not here to conquer, he said. We're here to unite. A skeptical laugh rose from one corner. It was from a young general of Eldamere. Unite? Cerdyn doesn't speak to outsiders. They live behind walls taller than forests. They will not join us. Edwin steadied his voice. Then I'll go alone. The council erupted in protest. That is madness. They'll kill you. You are the reason these kingdoms stand together. Going alone is suicide. Edwin waited for them to finish, then said calmly, If a threat rises, it should be borne by me, not by thousands. I will go under a white banner. If they accept peace, we gain a throne. If they reject it, we fight knowing we tried every peaceful path. Ragnar stepped forward. If you go, I go. I need you here, Edwin said. Ragnar's eyes burned. You will not walk into darkness without a sword at your side. The council watched in silence. Finally, Edwin nodded. Then you come with me. The path of the silent forest. The road to Cerdyn was unlike anything Edwin expected. No scouts, no travellers, no sound of birds or wolves. The forest felt muted, as if nature itself avoided this place. Trees stood tall and straight like soldiers. Fog curled at their roots, and the air smelled of iron. Ragnar muttered, Feels like we're walking into a grave. Stay alert, Edwin said. They walked for hours until they reached a clearing. There, they saw the first sign of Cerdyn, a colossal wall stretching endlessly in both directions, made of black stone that reflected no light. It absorbed the sunrise and stood like a sleeping giant. A single gate rose in the center, carved with strange symbols neither of them recognized. Ragnar let out a slow breath. Now we know why no one crosses this border. Edwin stepped forward and raised a white banner. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, silently, the gate began to open. But there was no sound of gears, no rumbling stones, no footsteps. Just stillness. From inside the darkness, figures emerged. 10 soldiers, armored in black from head to toe, their faces hidden behind metal masks with no openings. They carried long spears and walked in perfect unison. Not a breath, not a whisper, not a single sign of life. Ragnar's hand went to his sword. These aren't soldiers, they're ghosts. Edwin held his ground. Stay calm. The lead soldier stopped only a few feet away. After a long pause, a voice emerged from behind the mask, cold and hollow. Why have you come? Edwin stepped forward. To speak with your king. There is no king, the soldier said. Only silence followed. Ragnar frowned. Then who rules you? The soldier replied, The throne chooses its ruler. Edwin exchanged a look with Ragnar. Take us to the throne, Edwin said. The soldier tilted its head slightly. Only one may enter. The one the throne has summoned. Edwin felt a chill run through him. You mean me? Yes, you. Ragnar stepped forward. If he goes, I go. The soldiers raised their spears instantly. The soldier said, Only the chosen may enter. Edwin put a hand on Ragnar's shoulder. Stay here. Edwin! This is something I must face alone. The Hall of Shadows. Inside the gate, darkness swallowed Edwin whole. The air felt heavy, like he had stepped under water. There were no torches, yet he could see faint outlines of walls and corridors, illuminated by an eerie silver glow that seemed to come from nowhere. He walked deeper until he entered a vast hall carved out of black stone. Columns twisted like roots, and a throne sat at the far end, shrouded in swirling mist. As he approached, a voice echoed, not from a person, but from the walls themselves. Edwin of the United Six, son of storms, walker of destiny. Edwin froze. How do you know my name? You carry the burden of kings. You seek unity. You seek peace, but peace cannot be forged by force. Edwin stepped closer. Then help me understand. Who are you? The mist parted slightly, and the throne moved. It breathed. Edwin stepped back in shock. The throne was not made of stone. It was a creature, ancient, armored in obsidian plates that formed a crown-like shape around its head. Its eyes glowed faint blue, watching him with an intelligence older than the kingdoms. "You call me a throne," it said, "but I am the last guardian of this land. I choose who may rule. I choose who may unite. I choose who may live." Edwin swallowed. "Then judge me." The creature leaned forward, its breath cold as winter. "You seek to unite the kingdoms, but unity demands sacrifice. What will you give up? My life, if needed." "Your life is not enough," it whispered. "To build a united realm, you must surrender something far greater." Edwin held his ground. "Name it." "Your heart." The words cut deeper than any blade. "If you unite the kingdoms," the creature continued, "you will never know peace. You will never rest. You will never love. You will become a symbol, not a man. A leader has no room for weakness. Not even hope." Edwin felt his chest tighten. "Why me?" "Because only you carry the soul willing to burn for others." The mist thickened, swirling around him. "Do you accept this burden?" the creature asked. Edwin closed his eyes. He thought of the battles, the fallen, the faces of those who believed in him. He thought of the future he wanted. One world, not 7. Then he opened his eyes. "I accept." The creature rose to its full height, towering over him, then lowered its head. "Then kneel, Edwin of the 7. Edwin knelt. The creature touched its forehead to his. A surge of power shot through him, like lightning and fire and ice all at once. His vision blurred. He heard thousands of voices whispering in unison, then silence. The creature stepped back. "It is done. You are now the rightful ruler of Caerdydd, and the bearer of the 7th burden." Edwin gasped for breath. What does that mean?" "You will understand soon." The return. When the gates opened again, Ragnar stood waiting anxiously. Edwin stepped out, pale, exhausted, but standing tall. Ragnar rushed toward him. "What happened?" "Who rules Caerdydd?" Edwin looked toward the horizon, his voice steady but colder than before. "I do." Ragnar stared at him, stunned. "What? How?" Edwin didn't answer. He simply started walking. Ragnar followed. "Edwin, what did you see in there?" Edwin stopped. "The truth," he said quietly, "and the cost." As they walked back toward the camp, the torches of 6 kingdoms burned bright ahead of them. But behind Edwin, the gates of Caerdydd closed without a sound. And for the first time, he felt truly alone. The weight of the 7th burden. The camp stirred as Edwin and Ragnar returned. Soldiers rushed forward, expecting news of a treaty or a warning of war. Instead, they found something they could not read on Edwin's face. Quiet, still, unfamiliar. It was not fear. It was not exhaustion. It was emptiness. Ragnar whispered, "They're going to ask questions. What do we tell them?" Edwin replied in a calm voice that felt colder than the dawn air. "Tell them the 7th kingdom stands with us." A silence fell heavy over the nearest men who overheard. One of the captains stepped forward. "My lord, you mean there will be no battle?" "No battle," Edwin said. "Caerdydd has accepted unity." The men exchanged looks of disbelief. Caerdydd, the silent kingdom, the land no one returned from, had accepted unity in a single night, without war, without a drop of blood. "How is that possible?" the captain asked quietly. Edwin met his eyes. "Because they chose me." The captain bowed immediately, but Ragnar kept staring at Edwin's face, the slight tremble in his fingers, the strange stillness in his gaze. He had seen Edwin after battles, after losses, after impossible victories. He had never seen him like this. A night without fire. The leaders of the 6 kingdoms gathered again, but this time there were no arguments, no questions shouted over maps. Instead, they watched Edwin with caution and curiosity. Edwin stood at the center of the tent and spoke plainly. "Caerdydd has joined our alliance. Their warriors will not fight against us. They will not stand in our way. We now control all 7 thrones." King Aldric frowned. "What did they ask of you in return?" Edwin paused. A long silence filled the room. "Nothing," he finally said. Ragnar's jaw tightened. He knew that was not true. Whatever Edwin gained from Cerdyn, he had paid for it. He could see it in the shadows under his eyes. King Torvald leaned forward. "Then what is left? When do we march home and declare the unification?" "Not yet," Edwin said. "There is still something we must understand, something hidden beneath these lands." A confused murmur spread. "What do you mean?" Torvald asked. Edwin reached into his cloak and placed a small dark stone on the table. It pulsed faintly with blue light. The symbol etched into it matched the markings he had seen inside the throne hall. "This," Edwin said, "is a key. The creature in Cerdyn told me it controls a door that has been locked for thousands of years." Aldric's eyes widened. "What door?" "The door," Edwin said, "that protects this world." No one spoke. Even Ragnar felt the first sharp sting of fear. "What exactly did that thing tell you?" Ragnar asked. Edwin spoke slowly. "That a greater threat is coming, one strong enough to destroy all 7 kingdoms if we remain divided. The unification is not our victory, it is only the beginning." The first sign. That night, Edwin slept for the first time since entering Cerdyn. But his rest was not peaceful. His dreams carried him back to the Hall of Shadows. He saw the creature again, massive, ancient, its breath cold enough to burn. "You have accepted the burden," it said. "Now you must see what lies beyond the veil." The stone in Edwin's hand turned blue, then blinding white. The hall shattered like glass, and he found himself standing at the edge of a wasteland. Red skies, black sand, a sea of weapons rusted and broken. In the far distance, an army stood, not human, not living, not dead. Their eyes glowed with sickly yellow light. And above them, a colossal figure, wrapped in chains, bound to the earth by pillars of light. A voice thundered across the wasteland. "The unity will break. The 7th bearer will fall. The world will return to darkness." Edwin wanted to run, but his feet stayed fixed to the ground. The chained figure slowly turned its head toward him. "Edwin?" Edwin jerked awake, gasping for breath. Sweat drenched his face. His hands shook. Ragnar, who had been keeping guard outside, rushed in. "Another vision?" Edwin nodded silently. Ragnar sat beside him. "Tell me what you saw." Edwin closed his eyes. "An army. Something ancient. Something chained." Ragnar tightened his grip on Edwin's arm. "Are we in danger?" "Yes," Edwin whispered. "All of us." The rumbling in the earth. By morning the sky had turned grey. The wind carried a metallic scent, sharp and heavy. Birds flew in disorganized flocks, fleeing the forests. Horses refused to stay still. Dogs barked at nothing. The soldiers felt it in their bones. Something was wrong. And then it began. A low rumble under the earth, soft at first, like distant thunder, then stronger and stronger, until the cups on the tables rattled and the tents shook. "Earthquake!" someone shouted. But Edwin knew better. He ran outside, Ragnar beside him. The ground split open 100 meters away. A burst of blue flame shot up like a geyser, then vanished. Then another, and another. 7 blue flares erupted across the horizon, each one higher than the last. The soldiers panicked. The leaders rushed to Edwin. "What is happening?" Torvald shouted. Edwin stared at the blue flames. "The door has begun to open," he said quietly. "The world is waking." Aldrich grabbed his arm. "What door? What world?" Edwin pulled away and pointed toward Cerdyn. "The throne warned me. There is a force beneath these lands. Something ancient. Something that was locked away before the kingdoms existed." "Locked by whom?" Aldrich asked. Before Edwin could answer, the ground shook again. A blue crack shot across the soil, spreading like fire. The air trembled. Ragnar shouted, "Edwin, look!" At the far end of the valley, a massive stone pillar broke through the earth, glowing with the same light as the stone Edwin carried. King Torvald raised his sword. "Are we under attack?" Edwin shook his head. "No, this is a warning." "What is it warning us about?" Torvald demanded. Edwin looked at him with a gaze so sharp it made the king step back. "That the true enemy has awakened. The burden unfolds." Later, inside his tent, Ragnar confronted Edwin. "You're hiding something." Edwin didn't respond. Ragnar stepped closer. "Whatever the throne creature told you, it's changing you." Edwin looked up, eyes colder than ever. "It told me the truth." Ragnar's voice softened. "Then share it." Edwin spoke in a whisper. "There are 7 guardians beneath these lands, each one bound to a kingdom. The creature in Cerdyn is only one of them. And the others?" "Sleeping," Edwin said. "For now." "For now?" Ragnar repeated. "You mean they might wake too?" Edwin nodded. "And when they do, they may not choose peace." Ragnar stared at him. "So uniting the kingdoms wasn't the end?" "No," Edwin replied. "It was the key." The light in the dark. That night, Edwin returned to the valley ridge alone. The moon hung low, the blue cracks in the earth glowing like pathways of lightning. He whispered to the wind, "I have united the kingdoms. Now show me what comes next." The stone in his hand warmed. The ground stopped trembling. The wind died. Then a voice echoed, not in his ears, but in his mind. "Seek the first pillar." Edwin looked toward the glowing monolith in the distance. "The enemy has stirred. The chain has broken. The fate of the world now rests with you." Edwin closed his eyes. He felt the full weight of the 7th burden settling on his shoulders. He whispered to himself, "I will not run." And the blue light pulsed once more as if answering him. The first pillar of doom. Dawn rose sick and pale. Instead of warm gold, the sky glowed a faint, uneasy blue, the same color that now crawled across the land like veins under the earth. The soldiers murmured among themselves, clutching their cloaks tighter as the cold seeped into their bones. Edwin stood alone at the edge of the valley, staring toward the monolith that had risen from the ground. It towered like a broken tooth of some ancient beast, silent, waiting, watching. Ragnar approached him quietly. "You didn't sleep," he said. Edwin kept his eyes on the pillar. "Sleep will not help me now." Ragnar followed his gaze. "That's where you're going, isn't it?" "Yes." "Alone?" "For now. Whatever waits inside that pillar, it called only to me." Ragnar's hand tightened around the hilt of his sword. "And what if I refuse to let you go alone?" Edwin finally looked at him. "Then the world will lose 2 fools instead of 1. Ragnar smirked, but there was no humor in it. The march toward the unknown. As Edwin walked down the valley slope, the camp watched in silence. Even the most hardened warriors felt a weight in the air that had nothing to do with fear, something older, deeper. The wind carried whispers. The earth pulsed faintly under each step. The monolith hummed like a distant drumbeat. When Edwin reached the base of the pillar, he lifted the blue stone. It reacted instantly, glowing brighter. A thin line appeared on the stone surface of the pillar, the outline of a door. Ragnar, who had followed at a distance, stopped where the ground seemed to tremble more violently. "Edwin, are you sure?" "No," Edwin said, "but I must enter." He pressed the stone against the outline. The monolith opened with a sound like cracking ice. A rush of cold air burst out, almost knocking him backward. Blue dust swirled like mist, revealing a narrow corridor descending into darkness. "Stay here," Edwin said firmly. Ragnar swallowed. "If you're not back by sunset—" "I will be back," Edwin said, "or the world will know." He stepped into the darkness. The stone door sealed shut behind him. The Hall of Whispers. The air inside was different, heavy, ancient, as if thousands of years of silence were pressing against his chest. Torches ignited on their own as he walked deeper. Their blue flames cast long shadows across the carved walls, scenes of battles older than any Saxon or Anglo chronicle, wars fought by giants and beasts that modern men would dismiss as legend. But they were real, too real. The deeper he went, the more the air vibrated with an energy he could feel in his bones. A voice emerged from the darkness, not spoken aloud, but inside his mind. "The first pillar recognizes you." Edwin stopped. "Who's there?" "The one who watches. The one who remembers. The one who guards the seal." A tall figure materialized at the end of the hall, a human-shaped silhouette made entirely of blue fire. Its face was emotionless, carved like stone. Edwin raised his sword instinctively. "What are you?" "The first guardian. What remains of the ancient ones?" Edwin swallowed, forcing himself to stay calm. "Why have you awakened?" The guardian approached, its footsteps silent. "Because the enemy has broken a chain." Edwin felt his stomach twist. "You mean the chained figure in my vision?" "Yes." The guardian extended a hand, and images burst through Edwin's mind. Rivers turning black, skies burning, armies marching under a banner of shadow. That being was once a protector. Now it seeks to unmake the world. "Then tell me," Edwin said, "what must I do?" For the first time, the guardian's voice softened. "You are the seventh bearer, the last of the line, the only one who can stand against him." Edwin felt the weight of those words. "But why me? I am no ancient warrior. I am just—" "You are not just anything. The choice was made before you were born." Edwin froze. Before he could ask more, the guardian placed its fiery hand on his chest. A blinding surge of energy raced through him. His heartbeat thundered. The blue stone in his hand shattered into dust. The guardian's final words echoed, "Awaken your sight. The true war begins now." The entire pillar shook. Cracks spread across the walls. The ground trembled beneath Edwin's feet. The guardian's body broke apart into fragments of blue flame that circled him like a storm, then shot into his chest. Edwin screamed as the power tore through him. The lights went out. Everything collapsed. The unspeakable revelation. When Edwin opened his eyes, he was lying outside the pillar. Ragnar knelt beside him, shaking his shoulders. "Edwin! Edwin! Answer me!" Edwin gasped, sitting up. The world around him looked different, sharper, almost glowing. He could see the faint blue lines beneath the earth, as if the land itself had veins. "By the gods," Ragnar whispered. "Your eyes, they're glowing." Edwin stood slowly. He wasn't weak. He wasn't wounded. He felt stronger, too strong. Ragnar stepped back, shocked. "What did you do in there?" Edwin looked toward the horizon, where a distant hum echoed, not from the earth, but from something far beyond. "I didn't do anything," he said softly. "It chose me." Ragnar asked, "What happens now?" Edwin turned toward him, the blue glow fading slightly in his eyes. "The other pillars will wake soon." "And the chained enemy?" Edwin's voice was steady, cold, and heavy with certainty. "He is already moving." The night before doom. That night Edwin gathered the kings and commanders. He told them what he saw, what he learned, what was coming. Some were terrified. Some refused to believe. But all agreed on one thing. If the threat was real, only Edwin could lead them. Torvald clasped his shoulder. "Then we stand with you." Aldrich bowed. To the last breath, Ragnar placed a hand on Edwin's arm. "You're not alone. Not now. Not ever." Edwin nodded, though a shadow crossed his face. "Tomorrow," he said, "we march to the northern descent. The second pillar lies there." "And what will we face?" Torvald asked. Edwin's answer chilled the entire tent. "Something worse than the first." Ending of Episode 7. Hook for next. As the torchlight flickered, Edwin stepped outside the command tent and gazed at the moon. The wind whispered around him, carrying faint echoes from the pillars. For a moment he thought he heard a distant scream. Then another, and another. The ground vibrated beneath his feet. Ragnar rushed out. "Another quake?" "No," Edwin said, eyes narrowing. "This is something else." Far in the distance, a massive shadow rose over the horizon, too large to be an animal, too slow to be smoke. It moved like a creature waking after centuries. Ragnar stepped back. What is that?" Edwin's voice turned to stone. "Episode 8 will show us. Thank you for traveling through history with us. Edwin's journey is far from over, and the next episode will take you deeper into the battles, betrayals, and the destiny of the Seven Kingdoms. Don't forget to like the video, share it with others, and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter. Stay with us, because the world of the Saxons and Anglos still holds secrets, waiting to be revealed. This is Heroes of History, and the story continues.